Okay, here it is. Almost 4:30 in the morning, and the euro dollar is now it's distributing. Now it's distributing. However you want to say it. Now, so the 4-hour chart accumulation phase over here is this flag, this triangle, whatever have you. Now it's say it's people that sold up here definitely had to enjoy this pullback. Now, I don't think you need all these fancy tools that people are referring to. Some other guy just came and just trying to make the argument for level two, order flow, all that garbage. It's just simply garbage. Because and then I don't know if he's joking or something, but he's saying, oh, that's what I thought you'd say. Oh, you can't see this, you can't see that, your trend lines. A trend line is not a trade plan. Order placement is the most critical thing in this game is order placement. And trading your plan, and this is a cliche, it goes all the way back. Plan your trade, trade your plan. Now that sounds boring. It doesn't sound very romantic. That's another reason why always if I was going to have sex with somebody, typically a girl, that I would never plan it out. And if I look at trading as sex, so this idea of planning the trade kind of demystifies it a little bit, takes a little of the Fibonacci's away and all that stuff. There's the idealistic nature view of a market that it's going to do X because of X and X because of X. But the position sizing, order placement, this is the devil in the details or the boring part. And so if you have a risk per trade view and you're going to do more than one trade, you're already on the winning side of the equation. Because it's not the Gartley, it's not the Fibonacci, it's not the level 2 trading. There's nothing in level 2. This is why order flow is bullshit. Plus, it's confirmation. It seems to me all these people are like, well, when you see the orders come in, the big order flow, do you see the big volume come in, then it's okay to jump on the train because the big boys are participating. Listen, if you can't identify an opportunity, then if you don't get what a stop hunt is, or if you I guess just invert what you've been told in most times about. Okay, so now this guy's going to accuse me of not completing the sentence. Okay, it's just because I have a better idea. I'm not writing this shit down. If you don't like fucking my cadence, then fucking go fuck yourself. Right? This is the beauty of not charging for stuff and just being able to rant openly. Yes, I'm going to have a better thought and I will insert it. Why continue? Right? It's just like if you're having sex. Think about life as sex. She's not responding. You know, I don't know. I did that last time to her and she was walking bow-legged. Let me see if I tone it down a little bit this time. This is what I learned in Tai Chi. Come back different every time. Otherwise, you're in a rut. You have to adapt to the situation. If you're going to trade for a living, and this guy with the feather in his cap, I think he meant feather in his cap, or arrow in his quiver, I think it was, if you're going to use cliches, right, get them right. That's my suggestion to the listener, the commenters. If you're going to use a cliche, get it right, and then mock the cliches so we all know it's. I mean, if you have any amount of brain, if you live any amount of time, the more files you acquire in your head, the more boring life can get, right? Because you got so much data there. I'm actually buying this for a scalp right now. But it's the amount of pending orders, the amount of exposure in this market. Okay, I just switched topics for the other guy. What's the exposure? How nude are you? It's one thing to streak, and I know people streak because they get that's a kick. I never understood that. I really, you paid perfectly good money for these clothes. Like, why jump out of a perfectly good airplane? And how long are you going to be in these markets? And look at this pullback here. behold the grandiosity of a 4-hour smashback, the most pressure relieving. And and if you had half a fucking brain, and you could take half a fucking risk, and you didn't mind risking money, you would just put sell orders up here in this whole area to here. You have to have enough money in the account to sustain this amount of sell and not blow up the account. If the trade works out and you sell above the $1.25 level, okay, this is just so stupid. And you're prepared to sell for 100 pips, you've literally cordoned off enough money to do this trade. You told yourself, when this month was happening, I'll be a seller up here. Now, the only problem with that is it's going to take for fucking a whole week to get there. We all saw it coming. And for the guy that doesn't believe in trend lines, then he probably doesn't believe in price over time, which is all order flow is price over time. So yes, trend lines matter. Yes, price over time, which is the closing price, not the highs and lows, people. Okay? Step away from those fucking wicks. They're only for entry. That's the entry window. Anything above here, this close, I'm committed to selling every time we get up here. How did that work out for me? Fucking fantastic. In fact, look at this triple. Here's a Head and Shoulders. Another thing, how can you miss a Head and Shoulders with a line chart? I just saw a post I sent to my nephew probably 8 years ago when I started trading. So it comes up on the Facebook. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Did I send this to him? It was about the dollar yen. I just started trading. And I said, look at the closing prices on the 4-hour chart. And I thought, oh my God, I sent this to some trader. But I was trying to get my nephew into trading like 8-9 years ago. So amazingly, Facebook's holding on to these things. I thought, oh my God. Even back then, I was addicted to closing prices, line chart. It's just absolutely the most precise approach. And the Head and Shoulders here, in case you're wondering, this is the shoulder. This is the head. And this is the shoulder. And I should pick a different color there. Let me move this guy out of the way. So if you're thinking about, and then of course, could we ever come back here? Oh yeah. But what's it look like when we come into this vacuum? Now the next vacuum to come is here. So you're thinking price. Look at this. Look at how far this has gone. And I think, yeah, we could distribute a little bit here. We could come back into here. We could also keep going north. So the stop hunt. Look at this window here. Because this is all hindsight, but we can see the triangle forming because its closing prices are diminishing. Get a perfect triangle. Come back here and look at the entry. Now you want to trade the triangle. So you range trade this whole thing last week. You had to be on your range game. Every time you come back into this 10 pip trap, you're buying. Same thing on the sell side. Every time you come up in here, it's going to be a kickback sell. Now you know it's going up. I mean, you don't know it's going up. You're planning for an eventual resolution of this congestion. In the meantime, what are you going to do? Twiddle your thumbs? No, you're going to scalp it. You're going to range trade this on the dimension that the market's demanding, which is approximately 120 pips of bullshit here. Do you have a bullshit trade plan? So, now if I take the grid, this is 10 pips here, and I'm hunting, trying to make 30 pips. So $300 stand a lot. Is there any place you can see here where you could put a monster fucking order that's mind-blowing? Anything above here, just sell that retest at the top. Now, granted, you could get stopped out. It could go roaring north. Just like if you'd sold here. So you'd say, well, I was watching this guy describe his trade plan to Curtis Handley while his torture. Not trade plan. Analysis of the market is completely nothing to do with the trade plan. can't delete that. Hold on, please hold. Your call is very important to us. Okay, so if you said, well, I'm going to sell here, you get crushed. Okay, you got crushed. But at what point did you say, fuck, it's not going down? The only pullbacks on this 4-hour chart is when the train starts to leave, I should be cashing out of this. See, that's another thing. If your targets aren't set right, you're just never going to make money. See, I should have got it right there. That's the retest. So that's why I'm not trading too big. And if they stop me out, now this is the thing. If you're going to risk $10, okay, it's different than if you're going to risk $90. But if you risk $90 at $10 a minute, $10 every hour, $10 an hour. Would you spend $10 an hour? Would you hire somebody for $10 an hour to make money for you? Well, if you're going to drop these orders like this, you're basically saying, okay, for the next 8 hours, I will buy anything that crushes into here, and I'll risk $20 to make 60 pips. Now, I don't know if you make 60 pips. The end of the week's over. I think there's a lot of, I think we're trapped possibly in between here. Now, anytime we get to here, I think it's a good time to sell. Today. Anytime we get to here, it's a good time to buy. But in the meantime, what is the trade? I hope I didn't switch topics too hard for Mr. Like, you have to be on the same page every second. And here's your risk window, 10 pips. Now you define this risk. And if you just take this and play a game called, would I sell above here with a 10 pip stop? And if the answer to that is anything above there, yes, place an order. Now this is not going to be one. The problem with Gartley trading is single entry. There's no optimal entry. There's an optimal zone. And can you scalp the zone? In other words, can you have an order that gets in here and it gets out here? Now this would mean writing multiple trade plans, multiple targets. Do you have a trade plan for this move? Do you have a trade plan for this move? On and on and on. So the order density, it's like instead of high frequency trading, it's high resolution trading. So what I'm doing is high resolution trading. If I look at the 4-hour chart, I can without any qualms go like this and go, okay, how much does this $12 to make $36? 10 of those at the exact same price is $120 risk. Okay. These are pending limits. If I decide to sell the high of this thing, now am I going to make 60 pips? No, not unless I put the fucking order right here. So here's another problem with this system. I got to wait for it to get to here before I get filled. Now, this is why I just come unwrapped watching this fucking Stapleton shit. Well, what we're going to do here, say, is well, fucking duh. I just did that with a single drop 6Ks. So if I plunk this into some fucking currency that I don't even know shit about. Now, the thing about why I just trade the Eurodollar is because it's like having a relationship with a dysfunctional person. Eventually you learn how fucked up they are. Okay? And then you're like, huh, I get it. You're fucked up. This should be easy now. Now that I've accepted you're fucked up, that you're absolutely retarded. Now, I still liking this to go up a little more. So, if this is a buy low, sell high game, I'm slightly long into my shorts. That doesn't sound right. It's too long in your shorts, you can't get them out. But if I start planning ahead, and this is 8 hours, I don't know if we can make it up here, smash up here today, but this is my entry, and that's my exit. Now, you notice the take profit is aqua. I don't know if you notice. It doesn't matter if you do or don't. But see what I'm doing here is I'm building a trade plan to sell the top. These are trade plans. This is what trading's about. It's not about fucking order flow. I mean, duh. Like, dude, if you can't see the oscillation on this 5-minute chart, you fucking mentally ill. Okay, if you can't see that we just went down, and if you're bullish, every 5 minutes is down. What's the rule, people? That's right, buy. Even this, okay? Now, here you've got to have some clue of vacuum. Nothing gets this far out of the gate and creates this much backdraft that doesn't fill at some point. So, and this is starting to get consolidated. Volatility's drying out. Time to start building your positions here. You could have scalped this, and I definitely would have, and I didn't because I didn't have the key set to target. Now you've got to have targets set at 8, 6, 7, 9 pips. You've got to have that target set to do that trade on the 5-minute chart. Now here's the head and shoulders inverted, though. May it be. And what do you know about when you see? Oh fuck, wrong tool. What do you know? That's a momentum tool. Just so you know, trend lines are momentum. I mean, this stuff is not that. I mean, you really only have like 4, 5, 6 categories. You can start piling on and renaming stuff like Asian kill zone, but it's a void. Okay, it's a hole. I mean, the best place to get in is when everybody's freaking out. It's going down. So even if you bought this, now you know this low exists, right? Because as soon as this goes up and this bar closes, you created a valley. It's written in stone. Now it could keep going up or it could go down, but in the end, it's going to be a valley. Just like this is a valley here. Now, if you think about valleys and mountains, you could explain this to a 2-year-old. See this valley? Okay, well, when you see a valley, this is where you want to buy. Well, what do you mean? Okay, I put a buy order there, but I never got filled. I know, but look at it. We retest the valley in a 10 pip window. Now that's plenty of zone. 8 pip zones, 10 pip zones, zone entry, and then terraced exit. So if you're going to exit, you're going to exit where the sellers are selling, the top of this guy here. Just get a better color going here. So this is your exit. So you also know that you could sell up into that for a scalp back to here. So if you sell up into this void, so it's just like I suppose like Lego or something. And the rooftops. Okay, talk about the rooftops. In other words, the sellers are coming in at the top of this wick, and we should have scalped to here, right? Because this void was being filled. So it's fractal voids. And here comes the sellers. And this is back and forth oscillations. If you have trade plans to make 2, 5, 8, 9, 10 pips, you could literally have it depends how hard you want to work. Every pip is denoted. I mean, you're literally streaming out, like streaming, that's a big thing. Stream in, stream out. I mean, okay, now here, let me just put in buy stops, right? Now, what's tactically has to happen here if you're bullish and you don't want to get over involved and you want confirmation? The reason why order flow, it's more like your order flow, not the fucking crowd's order flow. That's the whole missing point of, I agree with the order flow, but it's your order flow. It's not what Bill Gates' order flow is, where his order is in the chart. What are you doing? In other words, are you trading defensively in confirmation entry? This would be a buy stop. So just put a buy stop in. What does that say? I'll overpay, but I want to make sure the big boys are on that train. Now, if the big boys are on that train, here's the logic. They're going to make it go smashing up like here. They're going to rip it. So if I place a buy stop on the smallest candle, I will get in there by default. And you can trade like this all day long. And you're really not going to get too beat up. I mean, if it comes up here and you see, oh, you know what, it's overbought, I'm going to put a sell stop here in the vacuum, get picked up, confirmation entry. I got it. You're making money. Okay. But it doesn't mean that you can't pull one on structure. You have a structure trigger button you press. Why this all or nothing thinking? No, there's a holy grail. Really, there's only one? Now, what if there's multiple holy grails? What if every fucking moment is a holy grail? So you can't think about your thinking. You know, this is the classic. Now, gee, the buyers came in here almost like it's oscillating. Now, if you were short, at what point did you say, man, I'm going to get the fuck out of this? Well, maybe on the 1 minute chart because you got a zigzag, you got two mountains, two valleys. You've got a rhythm. You've got it's switched, right? Plus, you can see the volatility very dynamically. You can see how far this thing can move in 1 minute. It can rip. That just ripped down. Now, if you're on the 1 minute chart, you had a buy here, anticipation of the breakout of this. You were buying. Now, somebody asked me, was playing the 1 minute chart and strategy tester. Hey, can you go over the 1 minute chart? Well, you know, the thing is that if you're on the 1 minute chart, it's going to look like this. Buy at the market. And wait. And you're going to wait. Now, how big did I just buy that? I just bought a 1K. Now you like buy. Oh, no, it's going up. Now look at the tick chart here. Forget the 1 minute chart. Look at double bottom here. Breakout. We're going up. I just took out this candle. Now I'm going to chase. And I'm buying the bottom of the range. Well, look where I'm at prospectively speaking. In the whole sea of price, and this is like your classic ridiculous chart people will put up. Look at the feeding zone here. Now, if you're a sniper, I hear the sniper thing. You're gonna sit here literally and pull a trigger here. Look at how they just keep bobbing it, just 2 pipettes lower every time, and this is a real feeding zone. Now, if you really have a, and this is 10 pips, 10 pip, baby bounces and then rip. 1 minute chart, your anticipation is the break of this trend line. Yes, trend lines are built. The slope of the trend line is determined by volatility. And if you're looking at all this, what people call noise, this is either accumulation for, look at this bottom become a top right in there at the 10. These are all trades. Now, you would be getting out of this right now. I'm going to cash out of whatever is up, if I'm up on anything, because I want to get out of, because I'm in a seller's. Anytime right here is depending on the spread's 2 pips here. Cashing out. Now I can cash out of this. Okay, I'm going to get out because I can get right back in at a better price. Let's see, if I go for a tight. Now this is risk 10 to make 20 pips. And this is risk 20 to make 10. Okay. So top of the hour is coming. We could be testing this by the top of the hour. It's not inconceivable. Look at this glorious super low ATR. Now, do you really need, and you don't want a 14 ATR, just bar by bar. It's plenty. If you're really trading this thing at this time of day, you probably can see this triple top become a bottom feeding zone here. And yeah, you're going to have to buy that. Not to mention, look at the stop hunt here, the 1 minute stop hunt. It's just, you've got to be sitting here and babysitting this thing, sniping this thing. And even zooming out like this, as soon as you start to do this, it's going to blow your mind, right? You just be like, wow. Now, it's not to say who can hardly resist looking at the big picture? Look at these sweeps through the 25. Look at this double top just above 25. Now, here's an amazing retest of the 10-yard line. Here we go. Now, I'm ready to cash out right here. I'm out. Bye-bye. See it now. I'm going to go flat. Oh, too close to profits, not letting me out. Okay. So, I'm going to cash out. They're not going to let me because it's right near the cash out levels. Okay, now it's getting out. Just barely in now. Just a couple K left. So, I think 1,001 leverage here. Okay, so So it's a constant source of income in a small and uh, if you treat it like a small business, and you have a you're like, well, I'm risking about $20 a day or whatever your per account, right? Each account's its own business, and you don't have to put 10 grand in there. And so it just cashed out because that was a predetermined cash out. So I'm flat. Now, should I sell? Um, sure, let's sell it. If it comes up here. So a scalp ticket is going to look like, I'm going to risk, so there's a one case, I'm going to risk 50 cents for 2 hours to make $1.11 if there was no spread. So would I put this order up here? Sure, why not? Now I can start building all of these. This is 50 cents per ticket. Trying to make 13. Oh, fuck. Imagine those are sells. Sorry. They're buys. I thought those were limit drops. Limit drop. Here's the sells. So I can close all. Oh, here, I want to buy this, though. This pullback. Okay. So since I just sold, I just cashed out because we were near that. Now we could rip back and I would buy again. So, and I put orders in super deep. Now we could just go plunging. We could rip right through the floor here. So anything could happen. To be prepared to buy down here. So how much exposure do I have on which side of the market? How many tickets do I have in there? And does it bother me if I get stopped out? Now, ideally, you don't want to see some of this stuff happen. You want to load this into a different account and just walk away and see if it theoretically works. Another reason why you trade the demo is because you're like, okay, yeah, that works. So I do think that this market could go either way, and of course this could easily pull back. Look at this; it's crushing into this vacuum now. And which vacuum is the most important vacuum? Look at this finally break. Now there's a real monster breakout here. Last night, we formed this line of scrimmage here, and then never really got that little bit of a trap there, but it was about trapping this guy here. So, and this is a 1 hour chart. This breakout bot got trapped short on this bar. And then here, you're buying on limits in a 10 pip window. And if you just range traded that, so your exit would probably be here on some ticket. And then, of course, it just goes crushing into the this is a real big deal at the top of that wick. So that's your other sell window. Wherever the stops are. And I think we get crushed down here now. So I would, if I was going to go away and leave this thing unattended and try to set up high probability, that's another thing crack me up. High probability market analyzation. It's not the probability, it's the exposure to each probability across the spectrum of probabilities. I mean, you can't narrow this shit down to one entry. It wouldn't make any, like, who knows if this crushed back. And is there a good scalp in here, a 20 pip scalp? Oh, yeah, there's a 20 pip scalp in there. But it basically is something like you're going to figure out how many pips you're trying to make. Now, here's a risk 9. I don't not a lot of scalps in here, just swing trades. Here's 15 to make 25. It's 7K logarithmically or compressedly set into a 20 pip range, 7 tickets. Now, if I start right here and drop it on this basement, now if I just keep stacking these up without duplicating, it's going to look like this, and you're going to get this nice martingale-esque thing here, especially if I drop it here. All the way to here, buy, 8 hours, right? Fantastic trade if it plays out. It's going to look like this. If your stops were wide enough and you started buying everything below this wick, it's not hard to find these. This is like the basement floor of a previous session, And if you're willing to buy all the way down here, by the time the market made it to here, you were up on every ticket. Okay? It's just a plunger thing. It's just void filled, just like this. If you sold everything from here on, you are up on these top tickets. If you were committed to, you have to find a sell zone, a place to where you're going to lay your trap. And naturally, martingale people make money because they're going to sell more up here. Right? They'll sell into this. Every 10 pips you're selling, maybe. If you don't want to, like, okay, maybe you, there's probably a couple profits in here where it went up and came back. So, and right now you're up on these top tickets, so you're not going to win every trade. And I mean, I'm taking a blockhead view of, I just put all my cells in the vacuum. Right, but you're going to get stopped out of some of this stuff if you take a blind view of it. But if you have half a clue of what's going on here, you would have taken the opportunity to get in the low risk entries where the true range, each bar is the smallest. And what is the smallest true range? Now, this is so simple, it's just ridiculous. These are 2 10-pip bars. Okay. That's simple. That's simple as it gets. Here's a small pip bar breakout. Not bad money. Not the best trade in the world. But if you were on the 5-minute chart, syncing that with this thing, you'd say, "Oh, genius." You have to, if you are going to be in a position to try to make 40 pips, then the entry here has a different meaning. Like if you're gonna, okay, there's not a lot of entries if you're waiting for the volatility to die out. You could have bracketed, you could have gotten trapped on this. And if you were willing to take 30 pips of risk, you could have had a buy stop here and a sell stop here and made a ton of money in 1 hour. You would make just a ton of money. Now, that's a strategy. And I'm not going to look at Bill Gates' orders inside this wick and determine. I'll look at all that fucking numbers. If you think you need that to trade, then by all means trade with level 2, level 3, level 8, or even use horoscopes. Okay, I think it's going up now. So I'm gonna see if they stop hunted anybody. Yeah, it looks like they stop hunted this guy just by just a little bit. And then we didn't get filled down here because the spread's too wide. But that was a nice scalp. And it's as simple as that. Now, if it's going up, I'm thinking I want to get out of my longs. And if it's going down, I want to get on my shorts. I'm always thinking it's going to betray me. The market's going to betray me because it's ranging, and it does that because it can't make up its mind, and people think it has a mind. And this is where you're projecting your view of the thing on the thing. But the market does have a rhythm, and Anita Baker, love has a rhythm, and you've got to and it's also got the vacuum factor. So on the 5, the scalpers are already out. I guarantee you they got out here at this to take that, because they're like, right to here. Right? So market's constantly fucking moving, especially this time of day, especially this time right top of the hour. So here it comes. They just updated the half hours, the 1 hours, the 15s. Everybody's updated. There's a now this is, the bulls can't wait for this to resolve, for this trend line to be broken. So we first, and they would say the early birds are coming in here, but we could still trounce down. So you can be an early bird with a tight stop. And look at this perfect top bottom here on the You could also do this stuff. You don't need Fibonacci. All it is an increment. I could go like this and go, wow, look how that matches up. That's just amazing. And that was MetaTrader picking that interval. And look at here. Oh my God, it's like right. Your brain's adjusting to what it sees there. So I do want to buy this crush back here and put scalps in. I might put some bigger. I'm just going to put swing trades in and treat them like scalps. But I just can't wait to buy this crush down for the bounce this morning. That's my big trade. And I could have sold that. And I'd be already thinking, should I get out? I'm up. Well, they're coming after these basement floors here. So we get a big smash down right now. Especially this time of day. Wash these people out. I don't know if this thing has... I know we could be trapped in here all day now. That's the 15-minute chart. Every day is different. To me, this is set it and forget it trading. I would just have no problem just piling in here, given there's enough money in the account. So 5,255, and so I just pause that and then see where we're at. Let's see how this plays out. And let me just clean this up. So we're looking for the market to come back to the starting gate here. But on the way, I'm buying on the way back to the starting gate. I think I'm about 9K here. Let's see how much money I can make. I just made $1, I think. So that's 255. So they're filling out my limits there, and I could buy some on a stop. Now here's the problem: should I buy at the market? I'll buy at the market. I think that's a trap. Is that a trap? Now the snipers. If you're a sniper, you're looking at this now, going, "Yeah, it looks like a trap." Look at the tick chart, but it could keep tanking. So be very careful. In fact, I would cash out of something right now. It just depends how stingy you are. If you know you can get right back in the market as it plunges deeper, and you're really saying I'm selling here. Like on the 1 minute chart, I'm sure it's a sell, right? Anything that goes up is a sell. Anything that goes down is a buy. It went up, cash out. Goes down, think about buying. So I'm going to buy more in limits here. I'm just going to load the wagon here. Pretty widely spaced. And the deeper you buy, the better. The only problem is less chance of getting filled. If you're missing out, it's going to kick in. And okay, so I'd buy here on a stop. They trapped into this void now, but is this the real breakout? Are we really going to tumble down? Okay, here's a rational view of the market. There's a 1 hour chart. Pretty obvious what's going on there. You could put Fibonacci's, you could put Gartley's in there, but the question is, how big do I get in? Do I get in now at the market? Do I build a position here thinking, oh, we're taking out this? By the time, you have to have some kind of goal. By the time Dow Jones is open, we're going to be up here testing this or breaking through it. Is this a stop hunt, the 3 hour stop hunt? Is this, would we just take out 3 hours of basement? Are the scalpers going to get out at the ceiling in the basement? Yes, they're going to get out there. You can watch them on the 1 minute chart, on the 1 hour chart. Anybody that bought this here, the logic here is, if you bought this basement, you have to get out here on the basements, unless the other thing. Or you're going to watch this thing come through this glorious crush down, and you're just going to buy this whole crush. Candy Crush. So that's why I cashed out, because I'm like, you know what? I think it's not done tanking, and it wouldn't matter because there's so many trades all week long like this. And you could just trade this 1 hour chart. You could scalp it. You got the tick chart. You don't need the 1 minute chart. This is better than the 1 minute chart. Look at this stop hunt. Look at this crush down. Look at that. Look at the reaction to this hole being filled. So the violence gets very violent. Look at this thing crush above 125. Look at it come down here and raid these basements. That was amazing. This when we fell out of here, 1 hour clean down, nonstop. I don't even think this thing gave. It didn't even hesitate. On the 1 minute chart, there's only one hesitation here. This is the redistribution phase. This right here was the only time this thing took a breath. Bam, and it just beat the fuck. There was a bounce here. I traded this bounce. So I could trade the bounce. In other words, if I'm running buy stops, I might get trapped on a couple tickets here, but this one, um, it just depends how much work you want to do. Now, if you were front running with limits, getting the sizing right, it's all about size. Like it was just like a recipe for a cake. There's no this idea that there's this strategy for making a cake. Okay, dude, but like how much is the ratio of eggs to sugar? Just because you called out the ingredients, it does not make a cake. Okay, this is recipe trading. I guess for the for the ladies out there, all one girls watching. This is like Jordan Peterson. We don't allow girls in the trading room. It's only for cigars. Us and our cigars, our Felix cigars. But and the thing is that you could tell somebody to place orders. You know what? I think you should put an order bank in here today. So let's see what happens, and that's what we're gonna do. So I'm down about $2 here. I'm absorbing, and I'm also gonna be my order flow. I'm gonna absorb the I'm gonna be the depends here.